Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be Chosen's Corner, Episode 6. And joining me is going to be JGigs, who is a content provider for Raid Shadow Legends. I'm going to be sitting down with him and just kind of having a casual conversation about, gaming and Raid in general. So let's get into it. Yo, it's me and JGigs, and we stay off script. Chosen's Corner, Episode 6. What's up, Gigsy? How you doing?
Yeah. What's up, man? I appreciate you having me.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know the context here, I had to do a little bit of a rap because Gigsy is one of your best videos is a little rap parody. DJ RNG.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So do you rap for fun? You seem pretty good at it. I liked that video.
Thank you. I just have grown up listening to it. And my older brother has rapped for a long time. My cousin raps, so I grew up in the middle of it. And that's the first time I ever actually constructed a song. I used to goof around and do freestyles and stuff, but that was the first attempt at a song, and it went pretty well. I was happy with it.
Nice, yeah. No, it's one of my favorite Raid videos. I'll definitely link to it or something. I thought it was really funny and really well done.
I appreciate that, man.
Cool. So tell me a little bit about you. Where do you live? When did you start playing Raid? Kind of all that normal stuff.
I live in New York City now. I'm originally from Memphis. And anytime in a video I've ever said I'm in New York City, people always accuse me of lying because I have an accent. But I'm in New York City now. I've been here for a couple of years, I guess. I started playing Raid. I think it launched in February last year. Is that right? Officially?
Yeah, that sounds pretty close to accurate, yeah.
All right, I think I picked it up in like April. I was a couple of months late to the party and immediately started making content for it because I used to make it for Summoner's War, and I was kind of like, it's basically the same game, so I'll have the gist of it. And so yeah, I guess I've been playing almost a year at this point.
Before or after the Shamrock fusion?
After. I think
okay.
Shortly after. I feel like that was still being talked about.
Yep, so we started playing like basically the same week because I just missed the Shamrock fusion.
Okay, that sounds right.
Heck, yeah, and so did you like go all in right away? Were you spending money, or did that kind of come later, or?
Yeah, I probably dropped, I don't know, a few hundred in my first month or two. I wanted to go ahead and get rolling and make sure I had resources. And like I said, just try to get out ahead. I knew there wasn't a ton of content creators, so I thought if I can go ahead and establish myself now, maybe I can grow with the game.
When did you start making videos?
I think my first video, my PC had just broken, and I was waiting on the new one to be delivered when Raid came out, so I was losing my mind every day waiting on it. But I think within a week or two of playing, and I just did like beginner tips, and then I learned about Clan Boss and did some beginner Clan Boss stuff. And
you played Summoner's War, you said?
Yeah.
Did you get like further in that game than you are in Raid right now?
Yeah, I would say so. I was pretty deep into the end game in Summoner's War. I played it for about 3 years, and that was one of those games that I knew everything inside and out. So any game similar, any game in the genre, I could basically step into it and be pretty ahead of the learning curve. Mm-hmm. So in most games, one of the things that I liked about Raid is that it was different enough from Summoner's War. A lot of them are like carbon copies with a different skin. So that's one of the things that I think clicked with me about Raid.
Did you quit Summoner's War when you started playing?
I did. Yeah, it was initially going to be a break, and then I just never got fired back up to get back into it.
Okay, and so which game do you think is better?
I think Summoner's War is the better game right now. It's more polished. They've been doing it a lot longer. So they've worked out a lot of their kinks. They maintain a pretty good balance of free to play and keeping the whales happy. So I think Summoner's War is doing it better. I think Raid has all the ingredients to be the better game, but there's a lot of things on the management side of it that need to change.
Okay. But comparing Summoner's War early days to Raid, like at the same time frame, like the first year, because I remember I downloaded Summoner's War one day when I was bored at work, like 3 years ago, and I literally played it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, this is dumb, and I deleted it. But But I randomly downloaded Raid one night when I was laying in bed and couldn't sleep. I was looking for something to mess around on until I got tired, and I ended up getting hooked. So there must have been something. I don't know if it was easier or to like follow, or the graphics, or
I think the graphics is a big part of it. I had a lot of friends that I wanted to play Summoner's War, and they couldn't get past the graphics. And then when I wanted them to play Raid, I had a lot more luck getting people to play Raid.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. There's something. There's an it factor to these games, and I think it's different from person to person. But sometimes they just do it, and sometimes they don't. I've probably played a dozen of these mobile RPGs, and only three or four of them have ever kept me playing. And Summoner's War and Raid are by far the two that have whatever that thing is that I can't put my finger on.
What were the other ones?
I played Marvel Strike Force for about a year. I played one called DC Legends. Those are the ones that I played pretty actively. And then I tried Age of Magic. I dabbled a little bit in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but I'm not a Star Wars guy, so it didn't do much for me. Dragon Champions is that newer one, but and they're good, and I like what a lot of them are doing. They just don't pull me in the way Raid and Summoner's War did.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And I see. This is my first game of this type. Like I had Summoner's War. I had Summoner's War for 20 minutes, and then for 3 years, I was so entrenched into like StarCraft and Diablo and Overwatch and PC gaming that the mobile market. I messed around on like Clash Royale and Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
But never anything like super, producing content or taking it serious or anything. But with Diablo 3 being 8 years old and being so dead, I was looking for something new and just kind of randomly stumbled across Raid.
Yeah. I had not played one of these games because when I quit Summoner's War, I dabbled in a couple of others and I played Marvel Strike Force. But Marvel Strike Force was like you could log in and be done in 10 minutes for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that one didn't really feel like playing these feel. And I went a long period and thought, maybe I want to see if there's anything new out. And that's when I found Raid, like right after global launch. I was like, let me give this one a shot. And then, obviously it did it for me. So
did you, what else is in your gaming history as a kid? Did you play PC games or console, or did you ever play anything competitively or?
I was pretty late to PC gaming. In my teens, I played Diablo 2 a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't really even register to me that I was PC gaming, quote unquote. But I was a console guy forever, and I grew up on Mario and Mega Man and all that stuff. Yeah. I'd say the closest I came to playing anything competitively would probably be like Madden 16. I was pretty good at. I'm a pretty good Guitar Hero player.
There you go.
Yeah. So I try to play a pretty wide range. Final Fantasy VII's my favorite. I'm a big fan of Fable and the Fallout series, and I like those kind of open world, do what you want things. And then by the same token, I like stuff like Raid and Summoner's War and some of the goofy little rage games. I try to get around and do a lot of different things. I don't think there's any one genre that I stick with, if that makes sense.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know that about you. I don't meet a whole lot of people in this community that I can talk to about the difference between a cover 2 and a cover 3, and in football. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So your account, who do you use like on the Clan Boss? What kind of like champs do you have? Have you had pretty good luck in like summoning on Raid and?
So my Clan Boss, I just run the Unkillable. I've got the Double Maneater, Draco, Painkeeper, Lightsworn. I personally do not have good luck at all, and that has spanned across all of these games. I have never had good luck. My account is insane because my friend Dominic, who plays most of these games with me, is on the total opposite end of the spectrum. His luck is just unbelievable. We always accused him of having deals with the developers because it just mathematically doesn't make sense how lucky he is. And he quit playing, and I took over his account. So if you look at my account, it looks like I have great luck, but I don't.
So do you actually play both accounts then, or just one?
That was the goal, but I don't. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with the old account because I don't want it to just die. So I guess I'm gonna have to give it away or something. But I thought I would be able to do it, and I don't have an interest in maintaining both.
And so do you do content for a living, or what do you do for like work?
That's the goal. I want to phase out the other ways that I make money so that I can do content creation full time. But what I do when I'm not making content is local lead gen for small businesses, running ads, website design, stuff like that. But as my channel grows, I generate a little more income. I'm starting to phase that out. I'd like to do YouTube full time.
I was going to say, for a second, I was like, uh-oh, did I, bring up a touchy subject because you sound like a drug dealer or something. You're like, so the other stuff, the other stuff that I do for money, I was like, that's pretty vague. All right. All right, so what we've got going on in game right now, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. The Draco boosted event. I feel like the sentiment is pretty negative on this. And I don't know what the answer would be to make these more appealing, because I think a lot of the end game players, kind of have the consensus of you should save your shards for X2 events, or like, a super, like a fusion, something that really drives you to pull shards. So what's kind of your general thoughts on this boosted Draco event and events similar?
I've never really been too into the 10x events. I think they make a little more sense with epic champs, but I think if you're going to do it with legendaries, it needs to be paired with 2x, because there's a misunderstanding, and I always try to put it out there when these events come. There's this misunderstanding that from a base level, you have a 10 times chance of pulling Draco, and that's not the case. And it's kind of painted that way. Even though if you go into the tab and read the news, it explains it. On the surface, it's kind of painted as this 10 times chance. I just don't think it's worth it. I think it feels like a way to get us to burn shards before they do something, like a fusion that's coming out soon or something like that. So I would like these more. I would be more into these if they would pair them with the 2x events. It just seems like it would make more sense to me.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but then on my drive home today, an hour ago, drive home from work, I was thinking, I'm like, what could they do, like, from a game design standpoint? I'm like, because you don't want to just give out Dracomorph to 95% of the players, so I don't really know what the balance would be to make it. You almost can't, like, you almost just have to tie it into like an event. Because there's really it's too hard to walk that line of it's fair and but it's not, handing it out for free, but it's also not frustrating. Because I know people, like, what is it, like a 0.8% chance on a Sacred Shard of pulling Draco?
Right. I think Hell Hades did the math on it. It's like 1 in 1,400 or something.
Well, that's Ancients.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Ancients. I think on Sacreds it's like 1 out of 120.
Oh, right. And then with 10 times, it's like 1 out of 60?
No, I think that is 10x. I think it's like 1 out of 120 on 10x.
Oh, okay.
And then I think you're ballpark on the Ancients. But yeah, like, convincing somebody, like, hey, to feel good about your chances of getting Dracomorph, we want you to pull 120 Sacreds.
Right.
Like, I can't even imagine how long I would have to play to have 120 Sacreds. Like, 4 years?
Yeah, I've saved for a couple of months at a time, and I think I ended up with like 10. So
when's the last time there was a 2x Sacred? Like 2 months ago? About 9-10 weeks probably?
That sounds about right.
Because I've got 18 right now. If it's been 10 weeks, then I get about 1.8 a week. So about 100 a year. So I guess, yeah, 120 would be like a year to, but still, I'm with you. I don't think it's, what do you think the better version is, the faction version? Like the 10x to summon undead?
I guess it makes more sense, but I don't know that it's any more beneficial.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know that it necessarily gives you any real better chances to pull a specific champ from that faction that you're after.
And it's my first gacha game, but don't they do it in terms of, like, you summon pieces of a champion? And then you, like, fuse them or something? Like
some of them, like Marvel Strike Force is like that.
Yeah, you have to get like 50 Bad Alcazar tokens to summon
Right.
Bad El or something.
And
right?
then like 100 to upgrade him, and then
Yeah.
it keeps going from there. Yeah.
Do you think that's the better route for games like this, or do you think it's just the one time no whammies, you either have them or you don't?
I think they both. I think there's merit in both. I honestly prefer to summon, in spite of having crappy luck across the board. It's more, the gambling, I guess, the rush of it, the opportunity for a surprise. I prefer. Strike Force just got a little bit. It started to feel redundant, like, and they're all grindy, but that's a different kind of grind that I got bored quicker, grinding those pieces up. Whereas there's always that chance I could pull something in raid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I like the all or nothing better. I think it's more riveting. So what would you do with the whole duplicate situation? A lot of people are up in arms about how it's, I pulled 3 Masha LEDs, like duplicates are so worthless.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess there could be some sort of trade-in system where you can trade in a duplicate Nat 5 and some other resources to summon. I'm saying Nat 5. I mean,
what's a Nat 5? Like what?
I'm using Summoner's War lingo is deep down in the brain.
What kind of drug lord term is this here?
Yeah, when I say Nat 5, if I say that again, I just mean legendary. Maybe some sort of trade-in system where you trade in the duplicate with some other resource and get a chance at another one. Summoner's War does a thing where you can activate this thing called a blessing, where you can trade in a Nat 5 to get the points to get one, and then the next time you pull a Nat 5 or legendary, it brings up 2 options and you get to pick which one you get. So it's a lot less likely that you'll pull another dupe.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess the thing that seems to make the most sense would be some sort of trade-in system, not one for one. I think there should be some sort of out of pocket, quote unquote, not financial necessarily, but some sort of spending of a resource along with trading in that duplicate for an attempt at something else would make the most sense, I guess.
What about something like this, where let's say I have Bad Alcazar and I get the base version of Bad Alcazar. If I summon another Bad Alcazar, I can either keep it, feed it as a book, or use it to power up my current Bad Alcazar to like the golden special Bad Alcazar. And then if I get another dupe, I can power him up to like the platinum Bad Alcazar. So I have like the 3rd tier, like buff his base stats or something, make him stronger. So I can, take a hero that I like and invest in them by pulling a duplicate.
Right. So you're talking almost something along the lines of more levels of ascension.
Yeah, like a different tier of ascension, but
Okay.
more impactful.
Yeah. I don't see why that wouldn't work.
I think that'd be kind of cool, because then you wouldn't have a wasted champion until like your 4th one, and the odds of you pulling 4 legendaries is very
You'd be
low.
surprised. I
Yeah.
think I've got 5 martyrs right now.
No, you don't.
I do. I have 5 martyrs. I've got like 4 Septimus. I've got quite a few quads, I think, in my storage.
How much money did this person spend that you took over their account?
I'm under the understanding that he spent about 5,000.
Oh my goodness, and he has 5 martyrs? Because I think I've spent about 5,000.
Yeah.
And I have like 40 or 50 legendaries, I think, but I have 3 Cephalias, if that counts. But
when I took over the account, I think it had 54 legendaries, and my old account I think I've summoned 3, and I've spent on the old account. I was probably about $2,000 in, and I had 3 legendaries.
oh my goodness, that's awful.
Unreal how bad my luck is.
That's crazy. That might be worse than what I had. But
yeah, you were off to a pretty slow start, if I remember.
I used to argue it was actually worse to pull a legendary like War Mother, because then she just takes up vault space. I can't feed her because it's a legendary. You don't want to feed a legendary, so it's almost worse to like pull the legendary because well now my vault is one less space.
Yeah, and just as icing on the cake for my old account, two of those legendaries were War Mother and Yannicka. Like I just could not catch a break.
That's awful. Yeah. So, are you ever gonna? Are you in the market to like play another game, or is Raid kind of the focus for you and your content for like the next year?
Yeah, I'd say at least another year. I'm gonna play Raid, and I say in a lot of my videos, I hope they turn it around and change some things that'll keep me around longer. But yeah, probably at least for the next year, and just slowly start to introduce other stuff into my mix, so that my audience isn't exclusively Raid. So that if the game dies or I just get sick of it, I haven't completely screwed myself with a single audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And earlier, something I forgot to touch on, you said there's some things that Summoner's War definitely does better. What would those things be? Like, because I never played Summoner's War.
I think that they do. I think the big thing is free-to-play, balancing free-to-play and making the game challenging enough to be interesting, having distinctions between like the early, mid, late, end-game phases, and there being advantages to spending as far as speed of progression, and maybe in the PvP side, I think that's inevitable that spenders are going to generally have more success. But if you learn the game well enough and you grind the game hard enough, you will eventually be able to do everything as a free-to-play player. And I just don't think that that's possible in Raid right now. I think that Spider is a big hindrance in that. I think Faction Wars, even with the most recent nerf, is a hindrance there. I think Ice Golem is pretty tough. I think it's probably doable, but I think it's really tough. I think Dragon is probably the closest thing to a free-to-play dungeon, aside from the Potion Keeps and Minotaur, that we have. So I would say that's probably my number one distinction between Summoner's War and Raid, is that they've found that balance in making it interesting and challenging for free-to-play, and interesting and fun for the whales as well.
How often do they release new content? Are they better about that than Raid?
Yeah, they just do a lot more. They have much more interesting events. They've always got like 3 to 6 events going. They do transmogrification packs, which is alternate skins for all the monsters in the game. They add big blocks of content. I would say, I guess about yearly on average, like blocks of content that match the size of the other parts of the game. They do a pretty good job of expanding, and it's so big now. There's like 3 parts of that game I don't know anything about. If I wanted to go back and play it heavily, I'm probably back in mid game at this point, because there's so much new stuff and I'm so far behind on it all. So they do work pretty hard. They put out a lot of stuff, and there seems to be a lot of attention paid to it. They're not just pushing it out for the sake of pushing it out. But they've been doing it longer. I think they came out in 2014. So this is their 6th year. So they've had time to work all this out and figure it out. And, Raid's been doing it a year. So there's a benefit of the doubt to be given there. But by the end of this year, I think Plarium I think things need to be quite different than they are now.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like an ad for Summoner's War, but
I know I'm a big fan.
I'm just curious because it's a popular game that I never played, and I'm curious as to what it would be like to experience another game, without the lens of Raid, which is really my only perspective in the industry.
Yeah.
I have a lot of perspective in like the PC industry, but as far as mobile, especially gacha games like Raid, I don't really have a huge perspective. I just kind of dove in and went hard in the paint.
Right.
And it is what it is. So who do you are you in platinum? What do you think of platinum, or do you stay in gold? Or
I pushed up at one point when it first came out to make sure I could do it, and then a few weeks ago, me and my buddy were having a little back and forth about it, so I pushed up into platinum to spite him. But I just don't. No, it's not worth it right now. So I've said I've got a 2-man defense set. I try to stay in mid to low gold 4. So I can cleave my tokens as quickly as possible. Platinum just, the 5% bonus in stats would be nice, I guess, but at a certain point, you don't really need it anymore. And the extra medal for Great Hall per fight isn't worth it to me. And there's no breakdown. You're either platinum or not, which I think is kind of silly.
Yeah, see, I think it should be like the top 1,000 players, and then have tiers, like 500 to 1,000, and then 200,
Right.
and then 200 to 500, and then like top, 100.
Right, and maybe even a top 10,
Yeah.
and then like first place every week should get something.
Yeah,
That's a grind for the same rewards as the last person in platinum. So
yeah, no, they need some sort of like leaderboard or some recognition of like,
yeah, something.
yeah, no, for sure that would be definitely fun for the player base. They should recognize that in some way. But what about like, I don't know, there was a lot of like win sharing and people like losing to their friends on purpose and and like pushing people's rank up. So like once you get up there, it's slim pickings, so it's kind of easy to find a specific target and then just lose to them over and over and over. But I guess eventually you would drop out of plat and you wouldn't be able to do it anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think a good solution to that would be to make your arena list refresh every 10 minutes or so beyond your control. Like right now, we have to click to refresh it so we can keep our list as long as we want. I think if it just refreshed on its own, and platinum got a little deeper, they changed it up a little bit where you wouldn't keep seeing the same names. That's a somewhat of a solution, I guess, but I don't know that can ever be totally avoided.
Well, you could make it so you could only attack somebody like a max of 3 times or something.
Yeah, I had that thought as well. I was gonna say once, but I know sometimes if I lose, it aggravates me, and I want to go in and figure out how to
change your team and go in again.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, just to wrap up here, let us know what you got coming up in the future, and kind of shout out what you do and all that sort of stuff.
I got a lot of skits in the works. I'm trying to slow down a little bit on the production of the skits. I have a tendency to want to rush them out too quick. So lots of skits and memes and all that fun stuff coming out. And yeah, I guess that's it. Still doing my guides. Going to be trying to upload daily, and like I said, introduce some new content into the mix while keeping the same pace on the raid content.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with me, man. It was fun to kind of touch base with you finally.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. I appreciate you having me.
All right, thanks. Take it easy.
Later, man.
Alrighty, that's going to do it for this video, Chosen's Corner episode 6 with JGigs. Huge shout out to Gigs for joining me. I have a link to his channel down in the video description. Definitely go and support him and check him out. So, yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.